In this parsha, we have the really the one of the psukim that sort of articulates clearly that there's Bechira, and it says Re'ei anochi nosin lefnechem hayom bracha klala. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that I am giving before you bracha and klala, which implies obviously that we go in either two directions. Rabbi Bechira speaks about this point, and the concept of Bechira, and it's something that there are many different angles to it, and he's going to speak about two or three different angles. One angle that he discusses is that this is the most important axiom for Torah. We could not have Torah if there would not be Bechira, and therefore the Torah at the very beginning and at the end speaks about Bechira, mentions Bechira, and so on. Now, where exactly is that? So in the beginning he says, Hein ha'adam ha'yekech meno lodas tov v'ra. That Adam is like one of us, meaning the malachim, of lodas tov v'ra. Now, lodas tov v'ra here is a little vague. It sounds like we can distinguish between tov and ra, and we'll try to explain what I think Rabbi Bechira means with that. And at the end of the Torah, here in Re'ei Nechem and the Nitzavim, you have the explanation that I'm giving you once again explaining Bechira and so on. Now, how exactly do you understand Bechira and Adam? Now, obviously, the very, very, very essence of Bechira is not something we can understand, but Rabbi Bechira gives us some insight into it. And he says like this. He says, the Alyonim, the beings that are in Shemayim, the celestial, or better said, Malachim really is the right word for it, angels and such like Kochos. He says they are all Sichliim. In other words, Heino Adam ke'echad mimenu l'das sovera means that Adam is unique in that he knows Tov and Ra, and it means as follows: all the more spiritual beings in the world are all Sichliim. Roughly, I guess would mean cerebral, intellectual, but governed by Seichel, and animals are governed by Teva, he says. Tachtonim or Artzim are governed mitzad Teva, which let's call that physicality. So the mechanism of a malach is sechlius, and the mechanism of all physical beings is tivius. Those are two systems, and each system is locked into itself in a way that there is no Bechira. The malachim, if the sichli means doing what seichel tells you is the right thing to do, means automatically that you're going to do the right thing, to do what's right. The animals have only an artsius, so they will do physical things all the time, but that's who they are, that's what they are. So that's they've been programmed, and they don't have any real choice. Over here you have this, in Adam consists of a person, one entity, who has both dynamics within him. He is as physical is, and yet he is a spiritual being, a sichlistic being. Those two kochos in Adam are what create the platform for Bechira. In other words, if a person would not be driven by any physical craving or tiviistic craving or desires or needs, then where would chet come in? Where would averos come in? If a person had no sichlistic mechanism in himself, and he's governed solely by his drives, then there's no bechira in there either. So these two systems, the artzius/teva and the sichlius/ruchnius, are systems that are self-contained and total, and therefore it's not possible to have bechira. Adam has bechira because he includes both in himself, and that's the pshat in the pasuk. Yodea tov v'ra means that he can sense good and bad, something which the Elyonim cannot sense Ra, and the Tachtonim cannot sense Tov. Each one feels and lives a world that has only one of those elements. Adam is Yodea Tov Ra, and therefore he has a feeling for both of them, and that's where Bechira is possible. This is not an explanation of how that mechanism works once we have a tug of war between two different worlds in us, but it gives us an understanding of what Bechira is. Bechira is choosing between our physical self and our ruchnistic self. Let's give it the simplest example. I have a very, very tasty meal in front of me, and an ani just knocked on the door that he needs something to eat. Do I fill my stomach, or do I give tzedakah to the ani? Do I give him the meal, part of the meal, or as it may be, or whatever? That's Bechira. That's the framework. That's the platform for Bechira. The platform for Bechira is that within the person there are two driving forces, and he must choose either of them. He then adds a Rambam Emon Nevuchim, who says, it says, Kol shechafetz Hashem aser shayvat. Whatever it is that Hashem wanted, he does in Shemayim V'aretz. And the Rambam asks, so if so, is that not a contradiction to Bechira? It's basically what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. And the answer that he gives is that itself is what he wanted. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted a world where there would be Bechira, and Adam would choose and get Schar V'onesh. So it doesn't address, the Rambam here is not addressing the issue of what do we do when the two things, when the two different Bechira and Yediyah contradict each other. That's Rambam in a different place. But he's speaking a lot more about how can there be Bechira if everything is what Hashem made it. And his answer is that itself is what Hashem wanted. The mechanism of Bechira did not come about because Adam is intrinsically a Ben Bechira, but rather because Hashem wants it. I would like to add to that was exactly what HaKadosh Baruch Hu proved to Paro. That's exactly that whole interaction between Moshe and Paro was. We are people that can choose and make decisions for ourselves. That's how we sense ourselves. That is something that is core to who we are. And that's why people will, give me liberty, give me death. People will not want to be subjugated, no matter how good the conditions are. So a person really wants to feel that he is himself, and we feel that innately that's who we are. And that gives us a tremendous sense of arrogance, because the ability to decide what's going to happen with us is the root of being divine. And we may or may not have the power to do it, but the root is that we make the decisions. So Paro, when he started about that he's the big man, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed him that I will bring a lot of grief to you, and you will not have the free choice to make that decision to send off Klal Yisrael. So Rabbi Chaya, just to review, Rabbi Chaya here points out this importance of Bechira, in that the Torah starts with a pasuk of Sal Bechira, Hey now Adam, Echad Mimani, Adeh Tov V'ra, and that's one. It finishes our parsha and the parsha of Nitzavim with a declaration about Bechira. That's how important it is. He explains that the mechanism of Bechira is because we incorporate in us both a very strong sense of physicality and teva, and a very strong sense of ruchnius. And therefore, these are the two forces where Bechira takes place. We're choosing between this and this. That's where the choices are. He then explains that the concept of Bechira is not a contradiction to HaKadosh Baruch Hu having wanted to, that everything is by HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, because that itself is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants that the world should have Bechira, that people should have Bechira, and that's the type of people that he wanted around. So the Bechira itself, how it works with Yediyah, that's not displaced in Rambam and so on. But the idea itself, how did Bechira happen? The answer is HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted B'dafka like that. That's what he wanted, and that's what is Bechira in the world.